Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance live show number 30. Yay! Maurice. Yay!
Remote. Yeah.
It's number 30. I can't believe it. Yeah, so we're at the live show number 30 here. We're about to get started. Right now, what you're seeing on screen is some footage of my video a little bit earlier this week covering the ATST. I wanted to talk with Maurice a little bit about that. And then also we're going to get into some discussion about the new characters for the First Order that came out this week. And then we're also going to talk about some other things. We're going to do a roster review today. So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming. But Maurice, how you doing? How's everything going?
Good, man. How you guys doing? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So, yes, we are also joined by Draclar today. How you doing, Draclar? You there?
What's happening, guys? Thanks for having me.
What's going on? How are you? Yeah, he's going to be our roster review for the day. So a little bit later on, we're going to go over his roster and kind of just give him some advice on some moves he can make to kind of climb out the ladder in Arena. That was one of his concerns, was trying to get a little bit of a better payout and also rank higher. He's actually on my shard, so I'm going to give him some tips on how to catch up and kind of work his way up the ladder. But Maurice, so how far are you guys, or how far are you specifically away from actually getting to complete this Rolo/Cholo mission here?
I think we will be ready to do it. Pretty much the whole guild will be ready. Not this territory battle, but the next. We'll get her 7-star, and then we can take her up and do the mission on P6. So I'm kind of glad you guys are giving us a nice little teaser at this, so we'll know how to prepare. Instead of
Yeah,
so I watched a couple of your videos for help. Everyone's got some different strategies, and it's been real helpful for us and for anybody that's not quite there but getting close. Kind of get your guild prepared to what you need to do.
I think much like most of the territory battles, it's going to be kind of RNG based. Like, it depends on what characters you're going to get there at the end as to how difficult it's going to be. I found it actually to be a little bit easier than I expected it to be. So I felt like I went in there a little bit too much. But again, I did also get 2 Imperial droids there at the end, and I feel like that could also be different characters or different elites, and it might be a little bit harder. So you don't want to underestimate it either. Yeah, I mean, so. It's pretty interesting. I mean, again, the ATST seems to have a lot less damage than the ATST, for example, in the Endor escape, or Endor, what's it called? The Endor's escalation?
Yeah, that's right. We're getting that back. That's right.
Yeah, we're going to be getting that back here in a couple of days.
Some more wicked shards.
Yeah, get some more wicked shards. And just want to kind of talk about a little bit about the new characters that came out for the First Order. We did receive Kylo Ren Unmasked this week, the TIE Silencer, the First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot, and the First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. So, what are your initial thoughts on these characters?
Well, I think Kylo has a pretty cool kit. I haven't fooled with it too much. I think the pilot as a character is pretty average at best, to be nice. Basically just like a First Order Super Commando, basically. Like you get the character specifically to make him a pilot. Like, his ship's pretty cool. I think both the ships are fantastic. The characters, I mean, mine are going to be 3-star for the foreseeable future. I'm not in a rush to finish them. I mean, I already have a First Order team, right? I think Kylo's lead is really, really good. An awesome lead. I just don't think the rest of his kit is really usable for my play style, if you will.
Yeah, no, I hear you. In looking at the video here, I'm also seeing that just at the part that we're at, that having General Kenobi and that all attack ability, what's it called, Soresu, or not Soresu? It's called I forgot the name of the attack, but it's basically the attack that calls in all the other allies to assist that have buffs. that's a quick way to get that that walker down. So you definitely want to save that ability there for that point. If you're running a similar team to what I'm running here. But yeah, I agree. I think Kylo Ren and the new First Order. I mean, I think Kylo Ren himself is actually a really cool character. I think he does add a lot of cool things. He's very similar to the other Kylo, but I mean, obviously more of a tank character than an attacker. And I feel like his halt ability is pretty cool because it actually stuns for 2 turns. Now it is cleansable, so I mean, again, you can cleanse that, but still, I've never seen a 2-turn stun in the game yet. Is that the first one that there is, or am I going nuts here?
I think it is, at least from any of the meta characters. I can't think of any with a 2-turn stun off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look, but I think it is. I want to say so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, I mean, again, he's a cool character. He's also got the counterattack with the Zeta, I believe increased 50%. He's going to do a decent amount of damage with that special attack that he has, and again, he's got a ton of HP, so he's going to be a hard character to take down. Now, I'm not sure what kind of composition or what kind of team composition would be best for him, but he does kind of seem to me like a character that could really increase the viability of the First Order. But I do think you would need to have the original Kylo in the team with him as well if you're going to try to run a full First Order squad. But again, I don't know. I mean, I kind of felt when I first saw these characters that I thought that he was going to be a great complement. The Special Forces TIE Fighter was going to be a great complement to First Order TIE Pilot, but he's not. So I don't know. I'm definitely more interested in Kylo Ren and his TIE Silencer than I am in the other ship. But I mean, this makes me think, now that we have 2 new First Order ships, and then we already have Kylo Ren's command shuttle and the First Order TIE Fighter in the game, do you think we're going to be getting a First Order capital ship?
Could be. Possibly. I guess who would that be? That would be... Would it be Snoke? Or would
it'd have to be either Snoke or Hux. Yeah. So I mean, Hux would probably be the likely candidate because I know even though it's Snoke's ship, they tend to have, it's not Emperor Palpatine's, Star Destroyer. It's Tarkin's, right? So I mean, I think it's going to be like the captain of the ship and not necessarily the leader of the ship. I mean, so to me, it seems like Hux would be that guy, but I don't know. So, I mean, did you get all these characters? Are you going to buy any of these characters? Did you, I know you made the investment with I'm sorry, with
No, I will not.
I know you made the investment with Mother Talzin. Are you gonna be getting Kylo Ren unmasked here? Are you going full Baze?
Even if he was like the Don Dada in the best character in the game, I would not be able to get him because I got Talzin. I can't be going ham and getting everything that comes out. I can't catch them all.
Are you gonna go crazy for Kylo Ren unmasked? I personally would love to, but again, I also kind of went down the same path you did, and I'm working on Mother Talzin, so I feel like I kind of made my choice there. And although Kylo Ren's going to be a cool character, he is a marquee character, so at some point he's going to be farmable. Mother Talzin, they've said, is going to be only farmable through that event. So I think that if you're going to get one of the two because of the rarity of the character, or based upon the rarity of the character and which one you're going to be able to get easier, it seems like Mother Talzin will be the harder character to get long term, because eventually Kylo Ren will fall through the cadence and become a farmable character somewhere, whether it be a hard node or a cantina battle or something similar. So sometime in the next 60 to 90 days, you'll be able to obtain him for free somewhere. Whereas I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with Mother Talzin, so you might have made a good choice there.
Well, I think Talzin actually completes the Night Sister faction. She herself makes the whole faction kind of viable, where the unmasked Kylo is a nice piece. He adds more to the existing First Order team, but there's already an existing, viable, I guess, for lack of a better term, first order team. Like you could already build a first order team.
I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying.
That would require first order without him.
You know, I understand. I understand exactly what you mean. Yeah, I feel like he is a good addition to a team, but he's not necessarily going to be the most important piece on that team. Whereas Mother Talzin really does make an entire team better altogether. So, yeah, and again, it also is dependent upon where you're at with the First Order, right? So, I mean, if you're a guy that has a maxed out, decked out, bling bling First Order team, then yes, maybe you want to make that investment because you already have a sweet First Order team, and he's just a nice cherry on top to make that team complete. But if you're not in that particular situation, then you'd have to go through the process of also leveling up the rest of those characters. Not saying he can't be a nice addition to any squad, but again, if you're just going for that faction, again, he's going to be somebody you're going to want to go for if you probably already made an investment in some of those First Order characters. But moving along. Again, like I said a little bit earlier, we do actually have another guest on the stream here. He spoke a few moments ago. Draklar, how you doing, buddy? You still with us?
I'm doing good, man.
Okay, excellent. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a look at Draklar's roster here. We're going to kind of go over, what some of the things he has and some of the things he should be working on, so that he can get to the point where he's performing a little bit better in Arena. Now, Draklar, how long have you been playing the game?
I've been playing since January of last year.
Okay. And
I'm completely free to play.
Okay. Well, I mean, you do have a Gear 12 CLS. I saw that earlier, so that's pretty good. And you are in the top 100 in our Arena. Now, what's the highest that you've finished in Arena before?
71.
71? Okay. And is it that you get to a certain point and you feel like maybe you hit a wall against your competition, or what do you think's holding you back? Really, is it the mods?
I'm hitting a wall with the mods, and just the speed mods is what's killing me. I can't seem to get the speed mods for everybody, but I think what's beating me the most that I can't attack first, or I can't attack faster than everybody else.
Okay. All right. So the mods speed are really what's getting you. And again, that's a common thing. If you haven't had the fortune of getting, let's say, some really good mods, you can fall behind, especially in Arena where going first can be such an important thing. Now, are you? I believe Maurice looked at your mods a little bit earlier before the stream started, and we kind of just went over some of the things that you have. You do have some plus 20 speed mods, like secondaries.
Okay.
No, he's got some 16s. He's got some really good crosses. Actually, he's got better crosses than I do. You do have a 6-speeder. Put all 5 of those on your Arena team.
Okay.
You're having trouble with speed.
Okay, so
maybe switch them out. Like if you're doing some territory battles, maybe switch them out for the characters. It looks like you have one on Zeb, one on Jyn Erso, one on Ezra, Sabine, Kylo, and Leia. I don't think any of those characters you use in Arena, right?
No, I was using Leia before, but I finally got my OG Han decked out, pretty hot, and now I just zated him, I think, like 2 days ago.
Okay, so I'm looking at your roster here, and just out of curiosity, since you have a Gear 12 Commander Luke, and you have General Kenobi up there, Han, R2D2, really most of the main meta characters, Princess Leia's up there. What do you think? What do you think is the biggest area that you need improvement on, on your team right now?
The RNG is huge, obviously. Because you could have really great fights, and I'll fight the same people over and over, and I get destroyed by them, and then they're, like in that very same day. But if I lose out without refresh. and I never get the same payout every day.
Now, I'm also looking here. It looks like you have an Akbar as well, and you could run a similar team to what I'm running right now. But I mean, again, if you're talking about viability, I mean, again, having a CLS and a Gear 11, or Gear 10 R2D2 can put you in the the right spots. Now, the characters that you have, as far as like General Kenobi is concerned, do you have any Zetas on these characters? Which characters do you have Zetas on right now? Did we lose him? Did we lose him?
He's got one on R2D2's number crunch. It looks like he just said he had one on Han, so he's got one on Han, and I think he's got one on Kylo, which we're probably not going to use in Arena.
Right.
See if he's got any on Luke. I don't think. Yeah, he's got binds all things. So I mean, those three Zetas right there, number crunch, binds all things, and Han Zeta. I mean, those are very, very arena viable Zetas. Like the three of them together. You've got the characters for an arena team. You'll have to just switch in your mods. Like those speed arrows, you're going to want to put your speed arrows on all of your characters. I mean, it's a pretty standard team, arena team that you could build yourself. It's CLS, R2, Raid Han, GK, and then pick a fifth. You could even use your Leia with R2. She's really good with R2. R2 drops the stealth. The Leia herself stealth, and she gets all return meter back, and she gets the extra buffs for more offense. And if you don't have a lot of Barriss on your shard, I'm not sure the looks of your arena shard. I mean, that's a really viable team that can do some big damage.
Right. I mean, he's on my shard, so there's a lot of players that have been playing since day one. I mean, we have some pretty advanced teams, and a lot of these guys have played pretty religiously, so they have a lot of the characters, Gear 12, Gear 11. So I mean, I could see where he's falling behind with the mass amount. Like as far as guild purposes are concerned, he would be behind to join, like, let's say a high level guild in territory battles or something like that. But I think that he is still on pace to be a contender in arena because he has most of the meta characters in a good place right now. I mean, again, like I said, he's got R2D2, Han Solo, he's got Zetas on them, he's got Zeta. He's also got the General Kenobi. So I mean, he's in a pretty good spot. He could run a pretty viable team. Right now, his current arena team is Commander Luke Skywalker with R2D2, Stormtrooper Han, General Kenobi, and then oh, it's okay, and then Raid Han as well.
Yeah.
So
I would definitely use the Luke, Kenobi, and maybe rotate in, maybe alternate a Stormtrooper Han, Princess Leia. Depending on what you're facing, Lando, you can always throw in there now. As long as that's, like, if you got some nice sister teams, I'm not sure what you have on your shard, I guess, is the problem.
Well, I mean, I can show you.
Right now, it's not malls.
You're facing a lot of malls back there?
Yeah.
I don't see any malls up top. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, you can get away with some different teams down there. Yeah, I mean, mod-wise, I mean, that's not really something you can always control. What you have to do is just remember to, keep investing in mods. Like, for some periods of time, I just continue to farm characters out of the, Cantina nodes, and I stop farming, traditional mods. What ends up happening there is, you fall behind on mods, and sometimes if you don't stop farming mods for a considerable amount of time, it's tough to catch back up and, have, good speed mods and, keep up with the other people because they continue to buy mods and eventually get lucky and get some of these mods with secondary speeds of 20 plus and things like that. I have horrible luck with mods personally, so I know that can definitely, set you back a little bit if you don't have good luck. So, you have to continuously look in that shard, that mod shop, and try to see if you can buy good mods there, and continue to farm mods, if not daily, at least a couple of times a week, so that you stay up with the mods as well. And really, it's just consistency. I mean, you have to finish your Galactic War every day. You have to, make sure you continue to do, try to get as much arena. Once you cross that 50 threshold, like once you stop, or once you're able to get top 50 in arena, then you'll get more crystals, and it'll allow you to do more in the game overall. I mean, you'll be able to get, more. You'll be able to get extra gear. You'll be able to get more refreshes in arena, and that's the main thing. The refreshes in arena can really help. I mean, even me in the top 20 or wherever I'm at, I have to still usually do at least one crystal refresh every day, during arena, to stay in the the top 5 or the top 10 in arena. You know what I mean? So you have to invest crystals in arena to get more crystals. So it's basically you got to spend money to make money.
To make money. Yeah.
So you gotta always save like a refresh every day to do those battles. Otherwise, you're gonna get stuck, and sometimes you're gonna get bad RNG. You're gonna get fractured on your Commander Luke Skywalker right to start the battle, and it's gonna be kind of tough to recover from that. And if that happens, you just got to make sure you put the right strategy in next time. Maybe switch around your characters a little bit, or change around some of your mods. Now, do you have the best mods on your best 5 characters? Like your arena squad right now, do you reshuffle your mods to put them on the best characters, or do you kind of like once you're done modding a character, you just leave them there and you don't really shuffle them around that much?
I do need to put better mods on Solo. I just wasn't sure how to get him to where he's most optimized. Is he crit damage? Is he crit chance? Is he not sure which way to go?
I think you want to go with crit chance.
He doesn't need much crit chance because he's got a lot of stacking crit chance of his own. I would prioritize crit damage and speed.
Yeah, crit damage too. Yeah, I mean, but the higher crit chance he has, doesn't he get 100% turn meter then? I mean, how much crit chance does he need to get 100% turn meter when he does that special attack?
100. Like turn meter is based on his crit chance. So he gets himself crit chance up, which is 25%, right?
Okay.
So 25%. So. And even on his base,
Draclaw, while you're not talking, just mute that mic because there's a lot of static going around in the background while you're driving.
Sorry.
That's okay. So yeah, no, I mean, my advice to you would be, obviously you want to get more gear on your R2-D2 and your Han and your General Kenobi, these characters that you're going to use for sure. I wouldn't put too much investment right now in Kylo Ren or Darth Vader or anything like that, at least at the moment. Again, Darkseid, could be on the rise at some point, especially after maybe The Last Jedi comes out. But for right now, I'd focus on, what's necessary at the moment, which is getting better TB characters, better, arena characters. And right now, your team that you can field, the best meta team you could put out there would be, a Commander Luke Skywalker with R2-D2, Han Solo, General Kenobi, and then I would even consider throwing another type of character in there, maybe like Ezra Bridger, maybe gear him up eventually. I would stay away from continuing to use Stormtrooper Han, because again, he's not necessarily the best character on your squad, and you have other assets here. I mean, you could really use Ezra. I mean, if you got him to gear 10, gear 11, he would help you out a lot. Sabine does a decent amount of damage, and she would, continue with that rebel theme that you have going on there. Besides, General Kenobi, I mean, you don't want to go AOE. I don't think you don't want Lando. Boba Fett, not so much. But I would go with either, Princess Leia. If you decided to put the right mods on her, and I would also go with Ezra Bridger. I mean, I would say the long play for you should be Ezra Bridger, because he's going to be good for you in a lot of different ways. Not only is he a good rebel, he's also a Jedi, and again, he has a dispel. He's kind of like the new age Qui-Gon Jinn, so he can really help you out a lot across the board in this game. So I think he would be a good asset to have, and he's really the closest there that you have to being a viable character. I mean, again, Grand Admiral Thrawn is also somebody you might want to put some work into. He's only 6-star, but he's still good enough at 6-star to be viable in Arena. So Grand Admiral Thrawn is a character you might want to put some investment into. But I would focus on those 3 characters. I'd focus on Ezra Bridger primarily. Then I would say, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And then I would go with, if again, maybe Princess Leia, but I would stay away from Stormtrooper Han, long term, because again, when you get to the upper ranks in our shard, you're not going to be able to run a Stormtrooper Han for sure. Nobody's going to use him there, and I don't think he's going to help you out too much. I think you'll get a lot more benefit from using another attacker or a utility character rather than having another taunt. Right now you're running a double taunt with General Kenobi and Stormtrooper Han, and you could probably get a lot more use out of some damage. And I think that having some increased damage could, not only make your team more, give your team more firepower, but it'll balance out the squad, because right now, again, a Stormtrooper Han isn't going to do a lot of damage for you. He's not really even going to protect you for that long, because his HP is again, now that everybody's Gear 12 and Gear 11. I mean, when he was first a Gear 11 character, one of those first original Gear 11 characters, he was great at being a tank because he had enough HP to withstand the battle. Now he's again a somewhat squishy character, so I'd kind of stay away from him. And right now you're using him, so. I'd stay away from that and kind of go with either, like I said, Ezra Bridger or Grand Admiral Thrawn. Even at a lower gear level, I'd kind of go with Grand Admiral Thrawn or Ezra right now. Try to get him to Gear 9 or Gear 10 the next few days, and go with one of those guys. And like I said, once you get over 50, you'll be able to spend more crystals on refreshes. That'll help you get down even lower. You'll start to get into the 30s. But you just definitely have to keep using, your resources every day from Galactic War, and the crystals you get from Arena, and your ships currency and your ship crystals if you get there in the top 20 to continue to progress these characters that we're talking about. So I would stay away from making investments in characters that are not going to be greatly beneficial to you long term. You don't want to put too much time into Stormtrooper Han, because I don't think he's going to be a big game player or a big game changer for you down the road. Right now I would stick with Grand Admiral Thrawn, because that's a character that's both good for you in Arena and in ships. And then also Ezra Bridger, because again, he's also a character that's both Arena and ships, but he's just an all-around great character, being a dispeller and also having a colon assist attack, and the fact that he's a rebel and can help you out in territory battles as well. I don't know, what are your final thoughts, Maurice, before we move on from this?
With Thrawn, just replace Stormtrooper Han with Thrawn, and that's your Arena team, right? I mean, that is a meta, proven effective Arena team. And just you've got 6 speed arrows, and I would deck all 5 of your characters out arrows, and just kind of make the rest of the mods flow. I mean, it's lengthy, so we're not going to do it here. But if you want to, I'll shoot you a message or something on Discord. Do you use Discord, the chat service at all, or like Line, anything like that? Just you can hit me up in there. We can work on like maybe remodding your Arena team. It's kind of lengthy for the live stream here, but we could do that on the side if you're interested. But you've got the characters to have a top 20 team. Just maybe the mod. You even have enough mods to make a top 20 team. Putting them all together on the right characters. If you got a Zeta, Han, Luke, and R2, that's a meta Arena team. And you can, I think, just a little bit of remodding and putting Thrawn in for Han, you'll see a noticeable difference, man.
So what are your thoughts? I mean, do you agree with us? Do you kind of disagree with us?
I know that Stormtrooper Han was the weak link there. I just wasn't sure, where to go, and I know that people say Thrawn is viable, but every single time I try to use him, I know I'm only like 9 or 10 on him.
Yeah.
He just gets, everybody goes right after him, and it's like, I'm right back at the beginning again.
Well, you got to give him mods. You got to gear him up as far as you can, because even at 6-star, like I said, he's great. You get him to Gear 10 and you give him the right mods, he'll help you out a lot. And like I said, Ezra Bridger's another character you can kind of plug in there too. Thrawn, like Maurice said, is a top tier character though. Thrawn is like top 3, top 4 characters in the game. I would easily say he's a great addition to your team. And it really depends on the squad you're facing. Again, if you have a team that has a double taunt or, has a lot of taunts, maybe you want to use, Ezra Bridger, because, he'll dispel, Thrawn also dispels and fractures. So if you have a team that, let's say, uses a General Kenobi, who constantly gets taunt every time you crit somebody, General Kenobi is definitely a great character to fracture. It's definitely worth using some of those characters. But I would just I would take a look at kind of do some of the things that we were talking about. Work on your roster over the next few weeks, and we'll have you come back. Maybe a few weeks from now, maybe a month from now or so, we'll have you come back to the live show again, and we'll go over where you're at now and see if maybe you've improved a little bit. How does that sound?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. And it's like
one
once
last
you get up there in
question.
arena,
I struggle with the ships. I can't get past like the 260s. I've tried using the different combinations. I've watched the videos. I try to use the target lock teams, and it just doesn't seem to really increase. Any suggestions on how to really like make a jump in there?
Well, let's take a look at your ships real quick. Right now, you're running a 5-star Akbar with a 6-star TIE Advanced, a 5-star Slave 1, 6-star Ahsoka, 6-star Jedi Consular, and then it looks like a 5-star. Is that a Biggs or is that a Wedge?
Wedge.
Okay. You definitely need Biggs in here somewhere, and he's probably one of the easier characters to get and ships to get. I would stay away.
Okay.
I would stay away from Wedge because Biggs is being a taunt. Can be a huge asset to you, especially when you're talking about having characters out there like a 6-star TIE Advanced. It's not going to have a lot of protection and health. So being able to kind of take some of that brunt of damage. And especially protect you at the beginning of the match, so you can stick some target lock on some of your opponents. I think that you want to protect the TIE Advance and the Slave 1, so you can last longer in the battle. I would work on Biggs over Wedge for sure.
Okay, and is Millennium Falcon worth it or not worth it?
No, not worth it. No. I mean,
it's free to play, man. I would invest your energy elsewhere than farming that hard node, unless you need Ray too. That's the only.
No,
you need Ray, then maybe.
Had Ray for a long time.
No. You don't even think about the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, I would do your hard node. I would get characters like Shore Trooper, Nihilus. I would invest in some of the characters like Baze Malvis. You don't have him. I would use your hard nodes on getting those characters first for the Millennium Falcon ship.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not like it's a horrible ship. It's just, I mean, again, it's a hard ship to attain. It's going to take you a long time, and really, it's not so great that it's going to be a game changer for your team. Like, it's not like when you have a 7-star Millennium Falcon that's going to instantly catapult your team to the top of the arena ranks. I would say working on your Biggs, working on your TIE Advance and your Slave 1, continuing to get them to 7 stars. Trying to get of course more Rebel ships so you can get Akbar to 6 stars. These are important things, so I would work on that, and you'll continue to increase there too. The main thing is with ships that you want to have like some sort of gimmick out there. What I mean by that is, like, if you have, like, let's say your first reinforcement as for example the Darth Maul scimitar, you can get that to come in and then kind of deflect all the damage to a character that's going to then be the only one that's not stealthed and has retribution. So you're going to want to stick that on maybe a character that does a lot of damage. So if you end up getting that, let's say then maybe you'll want to stick that on, let's say, Slave 1, so that every character that attacks a Slave 1 will get a counter attack, or maybe the TIE Advance, something like that. Or even on Biggs himself if you have Biggs. So I would continue to work on Biggs for sure. That'll help you out a lot.
Okay.
I mean, your galactic power. Cool. Your galactic power obviously needs some increase, and that'll be done also by continuing to mod your characters, and just like make sure that any character that you have, if you have gear that's able to be equipped by that character, equip it. If you have mods that you can stick on that character, stick mods on them. Just try to increase your GP that way, and that'll help you get into a little bit of a higher tier guild, and then when you get there, you can get better rewards, and obviously getting the rewards in this game is the name of the game. I mean, the better gear you get and the better, the more credits you get, that'll help you level up your arena characters and your ships.
Yeah, the TVs has definitely helped out for me being free to play.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, but that's it. Like I said, a couple weeks from now, we'll have you come back. Maybe we'll take a look at your roster again, and we'll kind of see where you're at and see if you made some improvements. If you decided to listen to us, or if you decided to kind of do your own thing. But I think you have a good base. I mean, you're good to go from here. I mean, you just got to kind of work on a few things, and I think you'll be in much better shape. All right.
Yeah, I'll work on the mods as soon as I get upstairs, and then obviously work on gear.
All right, cool. Thanks for stopping by, man. And like I said, we'll check back with you in a couple of weeks.
All right, man. And Maurice, if you could hit me up, that'd be awesome. If you could help me out with those mods.
Yeah. Just are you on Discord?
Yes, yeah, I'm on Discord. That's how I got a hold of Remon.
Okay, I'll get your info from him, and I'll hit you up after the show, man.
Awesome, man. Thanks a lot.
No problem, brother. Okay, so moving along, I want to kind of cover the meta report next. We'll go into that here. So with the top 10 leaders at rank 1, it's again Commander Luke Skywalker. I wonder sometimes if it makes sense to even look at the meta report anymore, because it's always the same every single week. But there's some change.
I see at the end. Who is that?
That's somebody I think you'd be really interested to talk about. So what are your thoughts on Asajj Ventress making it into the top 10 leaders at rank 1? That's your homegirl right there. That's your homegirl right there. What do you think about that?
Her leaderability's legit. Anytime they drop below 100% health, I mean, they're getting turn meter. They got a 50% chance to remove turn meter from the other team anytime they damage them with that Zeta ability. It's viable. I think Talzin is better for Arena.
Sure.
But if you don't have Talzin, then she's impossible to get. I mean, Asajj, you can make some use out of it if you invest the Zeta. It's a good Zeta across the board. You can solo the Rancor with it, put up good damage in P3. I haven't tried P1, but P3 in the tank raid puts up incredible damage there.
Yeah, and
good Zeta. That made my day. I didn't even know she was up there. I'm like from ear to ear now, man.
Now, Mother Talzin's also working her way up. I still see Admiral Akbar on there. Grand Admiral Thrawn's holding on by a thread. Well, I mean, not by a thread. I mean, he's got more than all of them. But I mean, again, he's considerably slipped down the list here. When he was dominating Arena a few months back. But again, Rex is kind of slowly losing a little bit. Kenobi seeing a lot more action. But man, I mean, Commander Luke Skywalker is just dominating the pie, and I mean, he's just taking all the pizza for himself. He's selfish. So, all right, moving along to the top 10 squad members, we have R2-D2 still at number 1, Commander Luke at number 2, General Kenobi, followed by Grand Admiral Thrawn, Han Solo. So again, now Grand Admiral Thrawn has now surpassed Han Solo. Again, the other way around. So Han Solo was sitting at rank 4, and now Grand Admiral Thrawn's back at rank 4 and takes a lead over Han Solo. So Darth Nihilus behind him with Barriss Offee behind him, and then we've got Baze and Chirrut and Rex to finish off the top 10. Baze and Chirrut are mainstays in the top 10, even though they're at the bottom there. Even though they're still, just little slivers of the piece of the pie, the bigger piece of pie, but they're still there after all this time. Baze and Chirrut.
Well, I think you'll see that, the higher Talzin goes up, I think Baze and Chirrut will kind of creep way back up too. They are the hard counter to Talzin, the Night Sisters. Because you spread that heal over time, and once your character gets up to 100% health, it just wipes out all the play. So they're definitely the counter to Talzin, which is unfortunate that we can't get some new characters to counter her, but they'll be back, or they'll always be on the pie here, at least for the foreseeable future.
Right. Okay, so now we're going to go to another top 10, courtesy of good old Maurice and the lovely team here at the Alliance. We're going to be looking at top 10, let's see here, top 10 characters for territory battles. So Maurice, why don't you go ahead and take us through here? We'll start at number 10, and we'll just kind of go over a little bit of why you think they're at where they're at on this list.
All right, now this list is just going to be like top 10 overall, most useful. For the sake of this list, there's none of the mandatory characters of interest. Hoth characters are on it. The CLS, Captain Han, Rolo, or the two Hothy generic characters. They're not on here, and just overall, like if they're like the Rogue One mandatory missions and the Phoenix mandatory missions, I didn't really use them as to weigh it. Just overall P1 through P6, what characters you get the most value out of. Number 10 kills me to do this, but it's gonna be Barriss Offee.
Okay.
She provides lots of survivability. You start getting to the P4, P6s when your clones and some of the other inferior teams start bottoming out. You can just put Barriss with that Zeta and just make them last, basically. She gets rid of the her Dispel, the passive kind of cleanse she has, where she'll remove a buff. It can come in handy. If you do use Jedi, I don't personally use Jedi in territory battles, but if you do, she's clutch. She's almost mandatory if you start getting P6 or P5 and P6 for those Jedi teams. If you got her, you might as well get some extra use out of her and use her in territory battles. So everyone knows what Barriss does.
Everyone knows what Barriss does. I mean, I personally, my Barriss is really not where she should be, but I think that as we move into territory wars and other things like that, where possibly having better Zetas or arena teams are going to be important. I think Barriss may have to be an essential character for me. So number 9.
Number 9 is going to be the good old GK. As we saw in that video you posted, and in most of the videos that I have seen for that P6 Rolo mission, the tank mission, and maybe it's just because everyone was playing it like a little conservative and like putting in their best characters just to assure they could beat it. But GK is in all of those teams I've seen on the videos for that mission, and he's a great throw-in character. Like let's say you have to platoon a bunch of your rebels, or platoon a bunch of your good characters, and you're just like, GK is good because any character that's not in platoons is going to be valuable to you. GK, Hermit Yoda, the 5 Hoth characters, when they're not required for a particular mission, those characters are not bad choices. So any character that you don't platoon is valuable. GK is one of those, and obviously it's GK. He's tanky. He can do retribution. Gives himself foresight, taunts, passively taunts.
Yeah, and that lead
is a great character.
That lead to charge ability is also great against the ATST, like I said.
Yeah, so I mean I think had I even considered that Rolo mission here at the end, that he might even be a spot higher.
Yep.
And number 8, before we get to the juiciness, is going to be another all-around useful character. It's going to be R2-D2, especially that number crunch. Any team you put him on, he's got the resistance tag, and he's also got the rebel tags, and even Galactic Republic. If you use like Jedi or clones, you throw him in there. Number crunch, you get that Zeta on him. That should be one of your first Zetas for everybody. I think you got that number crunch on him. He's going to make everybody hit harder. Make everybody a little tankier. Just spreads the love around. Stealth can really help keep, especially if you're relying on like Biggs and Wedge. As some of your rebel comps, he really can help keep them alive because they're starting to P5, P6. Wedge and Biggs get a little squishy, right?
Right.
So he's just like GK. Like, who do you want to use? Just throw him in there as a 5th, and it'll be good to go. Like, you just pair him with anybody.
Okay.
Those 3 characters, everyone pretty much knows who they are, what they do. Just good. They're 3 of the best characters in the game. But number 7, this is when we're starting into the rebel part of it. The characters that are very, very good for TV. Number 7 is going to be Zeb. Obviously, he's going to be used for those 2 Phoenix missions, and he's huge with that with the days, especially against these snow troopers and the commanders.
the counter of days is going to eliminate that. But also, for those of you that haven't really fooled around with it much, Captain Han and Zeb make a fantastic 1-2 punch, because Han's got the Captain Han, the Hoth Han's got the daze on his basic, and the Zeb just goes in. If the character's already dazed, he'll stun him. So that's a way to completely neutralize. And now that Logray is actually in the guild store, he's got an AoE daze, and the 3 of them, if you put them together, this is very long term, but if you get 3 of them together, you can pretty much stun lock the whole team. It's pretty impressive. Daze is a fantastic ability just all around the board for this territory battle. So Zeb's number 7. He's also a pilot. He got some uses outside of the game, or outside of territory battles. You'll need him for Thrawn, and you'll need him for the ship for the Chimera. So he's just a good investment. Arguably one of the most useful Phoenix. You want to get him pretty stout. And then
number 6,
my man. If I was making my personal top 10, he would probably be number 1. But Scarecrow Pathfinder is going to be number 6. For the longest time, the only reason you really ranked up Scarecrow Pathfinder was for his ship, right? He's a huge investment, which is kind of the downside. 450 carbonics is a lot, but he's tanky. While he's taunting, he just comes back to life if he gets killed. He also gives himself a buff, I think, offense up. So anytime he's killed, he's got a good chance of popping right back up. He's very tanky, but where he comes in clutch is his basic attack gives 15% turn meter to the whole team. Or like a CLS lead, he's going to counter. So you got a countering tank that every time they counter, 15% turn meter to the whole team, and that's huge. If you guys haven't fooled around with that, or even with an R2, you just stealth everybody and kind of give Scarecrow Pathfinder like the fake taunt just because everyone else is invisible. It's a really clutch. I've used it every single time. That P6 Rebel mission with him and Stormtrooper Han just feeding so much turn meter around the board. It's something else. Your characters can go 2-3 times sometimes, before the other team gets to take a turn. So. Again, his ship is very, very good. And for those of you that don't have bays, because bays is a very long farm, Scarecrow Pathfinder works fine for the Rogue One mission on P6. You might not get 6 of 6, especially if you don't have Jyn Erso's Zeta lead, but he's serviceable. He gets you in there, gets you 4 or 5 of 6. If you're in a smaller, younger guild, 4 or 5 of 6 in that Rogue One mission is going to help a lot.
Right.
So he's somebody to think about. And we'll to number 5.
He's a cool character. Honestly, I really was stoked about him when he first came out. And Skycrack in our guild had got him to like gear 11 like the first day. At 3 stars when this was when you couldn't get Scarecrow Pathfinder for months, and I thought he was really awesome. But the actual debuff offense down. Is kind of lost some of its lost. I remember like days in the past where offense down from old Ben would kind of render your team useless, where you couldn't really do any damage for a considerable amount of time. Whereas like I don't know, when he did the offense down, SRP just never really, to me in Arena at least, seemed like a great addition. Even though that offense down was in my eyes at least, theory crafting wise, really cool. Really cool ability, to be able to taunt and then throw offense down to everyone so nobody's doing any damage. And then, he also revives if he has a buff. Just all around a great character. But, okay, anyway.
Offense down, I didn't even mention. That's fantastic territory. An AoE offense down. When you start getting those snowtroopers, that counter and stuff, if they do get a counter off and calling everybody to assist, it's not going to be nearly as detrimental with that offense down as it would be without. You get into like the 5th and 6th wave, the P5 and P6, and those snowtroopers will wipe out a character, like 100% health to dead.
Absolutely, and you need to have him modded up well too for potency. In order for that to stick.
Yeah.
All right, so moving along to number 5.
That's going to be your boy Ezra Bridger. Another Phoenix, and he didn't make the list because he is a Phoenix for the mandatory Phoenix. He made the list just for his all-around utility. Good damage. He's got Dispel, and that assist move of his is so good. I mean, you call in, like, if your tank's getting low, like, let's say using Scarecrow Pathfinder. Pathfinder's getting a little down on health. You call Scarecrow Pathfinder on the assist. Pathfinder gets that protection up and gives turn meter to everybody. He guarantees a crit hit on an attacker, and then a support character, if you call them in an assist, it gives them turn meter. It's a very, very useful. I mean, I think it's arguably one of the best abilities in the entire game is his assist ability. It's something. I mean, it's something else. It's super helpful. So just Ezra Bridger, it's be number 5 again. You'll need him. He's mandatory for Phoenix. I haven't seen anybody run a Phoenix team without him successfully in that P5. I'm sure there's people out there that can and do, but I nobody in my guild, nobody that I've personally talked to.
Yeah, he seems pretty much
P5 mission without him.
He seems pretty much essential. Yeah, I mean, essential for TB and essential for that Phoenix mission. Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is going to be Baze Malvis. You'll notice a trend here, lots of tanks on this list, just because you need them. And Baze Malvis is awesome for territory battles. More so, I mean, he's awesome across the board, but he's going to start every wave.
He's just awesome.
So every wave, you've got a taunt just out of the get-go. And AoE Dispel is huge for this game mode because those commanders will start going nuts and spreading speed up, spreading protection up, spreading buffs across the board. Everyone's going nuts, and then Baze just comes in and just wipes out. You can wipe out all that protection up across the board, and that's super handy. His other move is also a Dispel to get rid of like if you hit the Stormtrooper commander and he goes below 100% health, he'll call somebody else to taunt. Baze can come in and just wipe it out. And that second special he's got does some pretty good damage. And speed down is going to be huge on his. He counters with the speed down. That's great.
I would even consider him possibly maybe even the best character in territory battles in some circumstances. Yeah. I mean, because of that AoE attack. I mean,
had he not been, he's very difficult to get for newer players. The guys that didn't have the opportunity to get him out of the shard shop. He's a very long farm.
Right.
So, but he is definitely somebody everybody should be at least hitting that hard note every day for. And he's if you place real high in arena and you place high in ships, you got a few extra crystals to play around with. The shards in the store are available. You get 3 for 150 crystals, which is
pretty good deal.
Terrible. Not a terrible investment.
That's a pretty good deal.
So, yeah.
All right, moving.
You guys have faced him in arena every day. You guys know Baze pretty well. So, number 3, we'll go with Han Solo. Especially if you got the Zeta on him, just massive DPS. He pairs really well with like a makeshift Jyn Erso team because he does give the 2 buffs up. He gives himself lots of turn meters. Got a stun. Again, any character with stun or daze is gonna get a leg up over one that doesn't, just because of those countering snowtroopers and the commanders. Stun is super important for territory battle. He's got a fairly reliable one. Constantly critting, constantly double tapping, just laying characters out. Just all around one of the best DPS characters in the entire game. And he just so happens to be a rebel. So you can use him in all of these missions. Pairs really well with just about any comp. Just pure DPS character. He's definitely better than Wedge, and maybe I'm trying to think of some of the other high DPS rebel units. He's the best one. So
yeah, he's definitely.
Again,
I mean, all around, not only for territory battles. I mean, just for arena, for territory battles, for PvE content all around. He's since the rework, just an amazing character. So I mean, he's a must-have pretty much across the board.
Well, every character on this list, with the exception of maybe Scarecrow Pathfinder, are going to be great all-around investments for the entire game. You're going to need them in multiple areas at some point or another. So, I mean, all these characters except for Pathfinder, you don't really need him.
Right.
But the rest you're going to need them all eventually. Number 2, we're going to go down. It's going to be Jyn Erso. She is really the only leader for the Rogue One missions. I think she is the only Rogue One leader. Is she not?
Yes.
I don't think any of the rest of them have leaders. So she's going to be absolutely mandatory for those. But just like I mentioned with Han, in all the other phases, like the little makeshift, light side,
Rebel. She pairs real well with like Han Solo, like I said. Like the missions that require like Hoth Rebel Soldier, she's very good for because Hoth Rebel Soldier gives a buff. We're talking about like a Zeta Gen lead here. Anytime any of your characters get a buff, they get protection back as well. So like Hoth Rebel Soldier does an AOE defense up. So when he does his move, everyone gets they get defense up plus a little bit of protection back. She's a great character. Removes turn meter, can stun on that. Again, the stun is a reoccurring thing here. You can put tons of rebels behind her that aren't Rogue One, and it's still a viable team for these missions. I like her a lot. I put the Zeta on her, and I haven't regretted it since. It's very specific territory battle Zeta. I don't think you're going to get too much use out of it outside of territory battles, but it will make, especially if you're a higher guild, and your guild is counting on you getting 5 or 6 of 6 on that Rogue One mission, she's mandatory. She got a ship, she's a pilot, she's a rebel, you can use her in other areas of the game. But for territory battles, she is A++.
Agreed. Yeah, she's got a big big problem in arena because of the lack of damage. But overall, for territory battles, yes. I mean, she's just an essential character. She's the only leader for the Rogue One. Her Zeta is actually fantastic, with the ability to stick, expose, and also her AOE attack. Giving turn meter to a character you select. The ability to remove turn meter and stun a character. So, I mean, again, a very strategic character, especially in territory battles where you're going to want to, kind of use some strategy to stun certain characters, remove turn meter from certain characters, or give turn meter to certain allies because you want to, have these characters' cooldowns be reset faster. You can use her to manipulate that. And my Rogue One team is, by far one of the most solid TB teams that I have. So I'm able to, go through most of the phases in TB without any worries because of the fact that I have a solid Rogue One team. And obviously there's certain phases where they're required, but when they're not, I can use them in either light side or rebel required missions. So they're just a great asset to have all around because especially as you get into those later phases, it starts to get difficult to really come up with viable teams. With the Resistance being one, and obviously the Rogue One being the other. Okay. So moving on to number one. Number one territory battles character, a la good old Maurice.
All right. Well, number one is going to be, it's kind of a grab bag. It's going to be Finn, Poe, Resistance Trooper, XY. Basically, Zeta Finn lead. It's pretty common knowledge that a good Resistance team is automatic. Like, basically, you open territory battles, and you use your Resistance team on the bottom territory all the way across the board for 6 of 6. You get a good Resistance team, and you'll lay out anything that comes your way, especially if you guys have some underdeveloped, and you don't need a specific team, just those three I mentioned, Finn, Poe, and Resistance Trooper. You can insert any of the other Resistance characters. Rey, pilot, BB-8's fantastic if you guys are able to get a hold of him, and also R2-D2 is an option. It doesn't really matter which 5 you use, as long as you have those 3. You can 6 of 6 any of those bottom missions, just the light side only requirements. There's not any required Rebels characters or anything like that. They are the go-to faction for those missions. There's an incredible PvE team for anything.
Right.
You're going to want them for the tank raid, so you might as well utilize them here too. It's definitely, and that's how you get your speed mod. I mean, Resistance is mandatory, but if you want to excel and get into the higher guilds, you're going to need big numbers on the phases. Like common question when you're asking to join a guild is how many territory waves, combat mission waves can you complete? Right. And if you have a good solid Resistance team, that's 6, 6 times 6 across the board. So
right,
that's almost a third of your territory waves.
Same with Rogue One. Same with Rogue One. Same with Phoenix. And then you want to have a solid you want to have a solid a solid Commander Luke Skywalker team also. maybe using Old Ben and Fulcrum Ahsoka and R2D2, some characters like that. And then you can use these other 3 factions, Resistance, Phoenix, and Rogue One. And if you put investments into the right Zetas and gear for these characters, again, that's a lot of characters, but I'm saying those are some factions that'll really help you get through territory battles, with Resistance being a huge one. BB-8. I actually ran my BB-8 at Gear 8 through Phase 6 last week, and I was afraid to do that because I thought he was under-geared, and I just wanted to give it a shot because he'd done well in Phase 5, so I tried it, and it worked fine. He doesn't really get attacked if you use him correctly and you put the right mods on him. So I was able to, get through the Phase 6 light side battles with my full Resistance team using BB-8 at Gear 8. So if you have BB-8, he's also another huge asset to that team. But that rounds out.
You touched on it. That's a good point. I mean, if you invest heavily in Phoenix, Rogue One, Resistance, that's really all you'll need for all the territory battles. Like, you'll need the Hoth characters, but between those 3 factions and your 5 Hoth characters, that's enough to get through the whole thing. That's really all you need in a nutshell for territory battles.
Agreed.
And you can use those Phoenix and Rogue One in all the missions. Just take out one of the Rogue One, put in the Hoth Rebel Scout or Soldier for those specific missions. Just kind of plug and play the Hoth characters with these 3 teams, and that's all you need. It's 20 characters. It's a lot of characters, but I mean, for long term, territory battle is going to be here until the game ends, right? Like, it's always going to be here. It's like a lot of you guys probably have clones for the tank raid. It's no different than investing in a raid team. I mean, it's a long term investment. No payoff. I mean, tenfold.
Right. All right, now we're going to roll the dice on some Zetas here. Give me Zetas, give me Zetas, give me Zetas, give me Zetas. 1 Zeta. Yes. I'll take it. Okay. So let's that rounds out the top 10 territory battles characters, and next week we'll do another top 10. I think Maurice is going to try to put out some sort of a survey. We didn't get a chance to do that this week. We're going to try to put out some sort of a survey so you guys can help vote which top 10 that we do, so we can see which one was most popular. But we'll put out a couple of options. We'll put a survey on the Discord for anybody that's there. Again, if you want to come join us in Discord or be a part of the survey, go to www.thealliancegaming.com to follow the link into our Discord. You can find the survey there, or just come chat with us anytime. Now let's get into some questions. Do we have any questions to talk about? Or is anybody interested in asking?
Yeah, we got a couple.
Okay,
we have a couple here I got queued up.
All right,
if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat now. I'll snatch them up.
Yes, if you'd like to ask any questions on the stream, or just have any topics you'd like to discuss, type them into the comments section now, and we'll go ahead and try to address those before we wrap it up here.
Let me get to my little notes here. All right. First question comes from this is Junior Hawk 003. Do you guys think there will be a villain journey using Vader, Red Guard, EP, Short Trooper, and Tarkin, or something similar? I guess it's asked about a hero's journey,
kind of like
using
a villain's journey. That's a very good idea. If there isn't, there should be, and we should talk about that. I think it's totally an option. I mean, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But because if they were going to do that, they probably would have done that with Emperor Palpatine, right? Like when they started off with, just regular Darth Sidious, and then kind of evolved them into Emperor Palpatine. They could have done that. Maybe Kylo Ren, but again, Kylo Ren now already has a second version, and we don't have an evil journey. So I don't know. It may depend. It depends on the character, really. I mean, maybe Darth Revan. because Darth Revan does go through some sort of a transformation in the Old Republic series. If you watched it or if you played the games, he'll eventually become, dark side Revan. Then, he kind of goes to being sort of gray at some point towards the end. He actually even becomes like Spirit Revan for a while, where he's just like a spirit of himself. Yes, he breaks himself into two separate entities, like light side Revan and dark side Revan. That's a possibility for sure down the road for one of those characters, especially now that they announced that there's going to be a new trilogy for Star Wars. Some exciting news. The guy Rian Johnson, who's directing The Last Jedi, is actually going to be writing and directing 3 new saga films for Star Wars. So, there's a chance, keep my fingers crossed here, that they could be doing this in the Old Republic timeline, maybe like back in the past before the Skywalker saga. So maybe it could be, talking about Darth Revan, Darth Bane, how the Sith came to be, the Jedi Order started, things like that. That would be fantastic to me. That'd be great. They also announced a new TV series, a live-action TV series that's going to be airing on Disney Channel's streaming service. That'll be coming out, I believe, in 2019. So there'll be a Jedi live show as well. Did you hear the news, Maurice?
About what? I'm sorry. Which news are you talking about?
About the new.
Touched on a couple things there.
Sorry, the news about the new Star Wars trilogy.
Oh yes, yeah. They announced the director and I guess the producer of it all. Yeah, I briefly read up on it. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, again, they could have some coverage.
Churning out these movies for quite some time.
Yeah. They could have some coverage on
so
the.
This game will be around for 25 years.
It's true. So, just kind of going out over a couple other things that happened this week. I believe there was a change to the original Kylo Ren. So now his lash out ability has been changed. Did you read the notes on that? Did you hear? Do you know about this?
I actually did not, and Draclar actually just asked about it. How do you guys feel about the nerf old Kylo got?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna.
I have not read it. I've been pretty busy this weekend, but
we'll go over it right now. So basically, what happened is his ability Lash Out, which is the area of effect attack that he has, is deal physical damage to all enemies and gain retribution for 2 turns. This attack can't critically hit and deals bonus damage equal to 50% of Kylo Ren's critical damage. First Order allies and allies with advantage gain 25% turn meter. With the introduction of Kylo Ren unmasked, we needed to update Kylo Ren's special ability Lash Out to prevent an exploitative strategy. After much discussion between design and the game balance team, our solution is to make Lash Out unable to score critical hits, but gain bonus damage based on Kylo Ren's crit damage. This way, Kylo Ren will still be able to benefit from Kylo Ren Unmasked's leader ability and bypass any enemy effects that trigger on a critical hit, such as General Kenobi Ceresu, Barriss' Zeta upgrade on her passive ability, Swift Recovery. So, I don't know if it's much of a nerf, as much as it is just kind of an adjustment, because they realize that if you put the two of them together, that there might be some sort of a way to take advantage of the two characters being on the team at the same time. So I mean, I don't know. Right now, I'm not really using.
It sucks if you've invested in it, but at the same time, it's good. I think that the developers are being kind of proactive and jumping on a potential issue prior to it being released. I think that's a good thing.
Right.
Because I mean, you're going to release new characters, and naturally, the older characters, some of them are going to be exploited. You can use them to exploit the new character, right? Like, so it's bad, but it's good. I mean, I have Lash Out. Lash Out, yeah, I have it. Yeah, I've got Kylo pretty tricked out, but at the same time, I think it's still going to be good. It's still going to be usable. We'll have to see. It's a mechanic I haven't really fooled with. I don't really have Unmasked Kylo usable at all.
Well, it's not his Zeta ability. It's his area of effect attack.
Yeah, it's his AoE.
Yeah. So I mean, again, yeah, I understand being frustrated about it a little bit because it's changed to what you already invested in, but again, I do agree with Maurice in that, being proactive and making adjustments to the characters so that there isn't some sort of an exploit you can use in Arena or some sort of
100% turn meter.
Yeah, it just
you just go again and again and again. It's,
I think it shows foresight by the by the developers, and that just means that they're thinking about the game balance and kind of thinking about all the players out there and just trying to make sure it's fair. So I just think it's good that they caught something like that rather than let it go out and then have to hear about it from let's say a disgruntled customer on the forums. I mean, so
right.
Absolutely, no, definitely. I think it's not really a bad thing. But I understand why it would raise some eyebrows for sure. So that's really it. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was it says, and make mine a double as far as the what's ahead section is concerned. I don't know what that means. Normally with these ominous messages that they leave at the end of updates kind of discussing what's going to be happening next, they usually, you can usually just kind of search it up online and you'll find, what it is or get kind of some kind of a hint. Like when they talked about hunger and then Darth Nihilus came out later. This, I don't really understand where they're going with it. I think some people have speculated that maybe just be double drops are coming. Maybe for, certain types of characters. Maybe for the veterans, if the Jedi Ray event is coming out. Or Lightsaber Ray or Last Jedi Ray, whatever you want to call it.
Nothing I can really read quickly. It's like articles I have to read the entire thing of. Because a lot of times you could seriously just type in their hint, if you will, verbatim into Google and it'll pull it right. Before the Tarka rework, or I think they gave a hint, and if you typed it in, it literally pulled up Tarkin's fan wiki page, and it was the first line of it's super obvious. This one's not so much.
Right. Next question, if we have any.
All right, Boone. 281 Q&A asks best second tank in a GK Zeta Barris Nihilus team. Sunback, Fides, or Chopper. Best second tank.
I kind of agree with you a little bit on the maybe Sunfac. Even though Sunfac has that's kind of me really just wanting Sunfac to be used again. Deep down inside, but honestly, if you're saying best tank besides that, I mean probably besides General Kenobi. Let me take a look at my roster here and just kind of think about this. I would say probably Old Ben with a Zeta.
Yeah. Well, if your options are Sunfac, Fives, and Chopper, I would probably go with Fives, and then maybe even use an R2. That way, because Fives is only going to get one chance to taunt with that assist move under a GK lead.
Oh, those are his options. Those are the options that he has. Those three.
Well, that's just once he lifts it off. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Passive taunt kind of with R2, and just that way he's the only one that's able to get hit, and he can kind of counter with all the speed down. And then when he does, that the stealth will wear off, and then Fives can do his assist attack, and they get taunt again underneath that GK lead.
Right.
Fives with Barris, actually, I've never really fooled with. That could be super annoying. I've never really, especially with that defensive boost GK gives, I've never really fooled with that. That's actually pretty slick idea, actually.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I would say again, if you have Old Ben, I think he's an even better option with the Zeta on his taunt, where he gets to taunt again for a turn after he's dispelled. That's a cool Zeta. I've actually been contemplating that one myself. So I would think he'd be a good addition, especially as a tank for TB and even for Arena. His rework was actually one of the cool ones in the past. So next
question. All right. This one comes from Josu Garcia.
Okay.
Welcome back, buddy. I have a G12 CLS, R2, a Gear 11 Thrawn, Nihilus, and a 5-star Shore Trooper. So we got CLS, R2, Thrawn, Nihilus, Shore Trooper. Who do I take out of those 5 to put in a Han Solo? I'm stuck in between 120 and 76 in arena. So he's got CLS, R2, Thrawn, Nihilus, Shore Trooper. He's wanting to put in his new Han Solo with the Zeta. Which character should he replace?
He's got R2 and who?
CLS lead, R2, Thrawn, Nihilus, and Shore Trooper.
Thrawn, Nihilus, and Shore Trooper. And he's looking to throw in Han Solo. Who's the character that he wants to put in?
Well, it's tough because, Han is the one he wants to put in. I mean, my first instinct is to say take out Shore Trooper, but then he doesn't have a tank at all.
Right, I was thinking the same exact thing when you said that. So I was just trying to think about.
You do have to have some sort of tank.
Yeah, so I would say honestly, out of that team, like from what you said, I feel like the best option would be probably to take out Nihilus.
That's what I would have said too. Yeah, because that Shore Trooper, although he's only 5-star, if you have a lot of Thrawns on your server, the AI, the Thrawn will fracture your Shore Trooper every time. If you have to have some sort of tank, because otherwise Thrawn will get in there and fracture your R2, fracture your CLS, your new Han, and your whole team will fall apart. So you do need some sort of tank for nothing else, just to eat Thrawn's fracture.
Right.
That's basically that's where the tank is nowadays. It's not to protect your team, it's to eat the fracture. And so I would say Nas as well, because while you're losing the Annihilates, now that you have a Zeta on your Han Solo, you're getting that damage just in the form of just basic damage instead of instant deaths. I would take out Nihilus,
Yeah, I agree.
100%, because your Han will be even stronger underneath a CLS lead and with that R2, the number crunch, if you have that Zeta.
Yeah, I mean, Thrawn is also just a little, again, even though Nihilus is great against like a Zeta Barris or a team where you really need to kill somebody to get rid of their Zeta ability or the effects that they give to the rest of the team. The Thrawn character really has more utility in that he gives turn meter, protection regen. He also has counterattack and. He can dispel and fracture a character. There's just a lot of benefits to Grand Admiral Thrawn overall that make him a little bit more viable, in an overall arena squad. So I mean, again, I would say, if I had to pick one, I'd pick Darth Nihilus to be the one to get rid of. Bring Han Solo in there for the increased damage. But if that's, do we have any more?
Test it out and see. I mean. A lot depends on your chart, I guess.
Right. So is that the last question?
No, we got a few more. How many more you want?
Give me a couple more. Yeah.
All right. This one is from our man Duza from the Alliance. When is Papa Palp getting a Zeta? Because Palpatine has all those level 7 abilities with some room for improvement, right? So.
When is Papa Palp getting a Zeta? That's a good question. Honestly, I feel like he needs a Zeta right now, but when is it going to happen? I would say as we get closer to maybe some sort of a dark side TB coming, you may see some work done to Palpatine. It's not by mistake that he hasn't gotten a Zeta yet. I think when he does, it'll be a good one, for sure.
Yeah, that leader ability could really get amped up. kind of silly with a Zeta. That leadership ability is already awesome.
When it's going to happen is just yeah. When it's going to happen is just speculative. But I mean, as far as like what he can do, I think that his Zeta will be pretty cool. I think it'll be some sort of a a really cool Zeta, but also I think he'll get some sort of a rework. Overall, just kind of adding to his abilities with his AOE attack. I think he'll be able to do some more damage, and his shock that he sticks on characters will get some sort of an upgrade too. So I think it'll be cool. Again, I don't know exactly what they'll do or when they'll do it, but I think it'll be sooner rather than later.
You could put a Zeta on that unique. There's room for that, and on his level 77 ability, it says it basically just talks about how the shocked enemies, how they get damaged and stuff. But at the end, it says this damage cannot defeat enemies. Maybe a Zeta makes it to where it basically removes that. Like maybe shock could kill you, and that would be a viable Zeta, because instead of just having all the characters at like 1% health, they would just die. Much like Talzin's Plague will kill off a character. Maybe that'd be something simple they could do and effective.
Right.
And speaking of Talzin, we do have another question. It's from Vitali. Any good anti-Talzin team? I guess Talzin lead Asajj, Daka Zombie, Acolyte. He's just looking for a good counter that he could possibly build to beat this team easily.
I'm about to get destroyed right now.
Anti-Night Sister team. But a good start to an anti-Talzin team. Characters a lot of you guys have. If you're having trouble keeping up with the speed, because Talzin is a speed leader, you could use Akbar, and then you use a character that probably most of us have in Lando. Any sort of, they have no counter ability to Night Sisters, with the exception of Initiate, but I don't think you're going to see too many Initiates yet. Just any sort of AoE character underneath the speed lead. B2, Bays are very good characters, because basically how you kill this team is, why this team is so annoying is because Acolyte's stealth behind Zombie, and she just keeps bringing them back. So you want to remove the stealth, keep the stealth off Acolyte, so you can keep her down. And then just the rest of the team will just melt, because they're all relatively squishy. So like Lando underneath the Akbar lead is you pop Lando's or Akbar's Tactical Genius, and just back-to-back bomb with Lando, and that alone could wipe out the majority of them. So there's very simple counters to this team, but it's tough to recommend redoing your arena team, because I don't think you probably don't have tons and tons of them on your shard. You might have one or two. So like remodding your entire team to use like Akbar Lando, it's kind of a tough suggestion. But if that team's just sitting in first and you want it, it's kind of what you're gonna have to do. You can't use these meta characters because they just cannot get through Acolyte. They can't de-stealth her. Like you have to have Bays, or you have to have B2, or you just have to use massive AoE damage. Death Trooper he's a tougher character, but he's also a good answer, because he got the AoE healing immunity. Nihilus, unfortunately, is not the answer, because you can annihilate Zombie and then she just pops right back up. That's so Zombie is so broken. It's just such a broken character.
Yeah, I know. I think there's going to be some interesting videos that come out with her in the future. I'm sure there'll be somebody who finds some sort of interesting exploit with her or something like that.
Oh, you can just run a new Gunray lead,
right.
Zombie, and then all your stealth characters, and just lay waste to anybody all the way up the ladder. It's silly.
That's crazy. All right. Deuce is right. The only legendary character that has no Zeta is Palpatine. So it's definitely coming at some point. But I'm assuming it'll be when we get closer to Darkside TB. I'm even assuming that there'll probably be there'll be some sort of a like a rework to his leader ability. Yeah, I think his leader ability will become, probably, hopefully, will become more viable than even, Thrawn's or, something like that. So maybe he'll be, the number one Empire leader or a dark side leader in the game. Any more questions?
Well, Dracula asked about the Kylo nerf. I think we touched on that.
Yep.
And Master asked about Unmasked Kylo. We talked about him at the beginning. We do have one from Evergoo03. What are you guys most excited about in the upcoming months?
Rey's Hero's Journey. I'm excited about The Last Jedi coming out and whatever characters come from that. And I'm excited about Territory Wars, Guild versus Guild, whenever that drops. That should be really cool. Kind of figuring out what the mechanics are for that, and how that's going to work, and what we need to be prepared for that. And I'm sure we'll get some more information about that as we get to either the close of the year or at some point in the beginning of next year. I believe over the next few weeks to month and a half or so, what we're going to be hearing about is mostly just Last Jedi stuff. We're going to be getting Last Jedi characters, Last Jedi events, Rey's Hero's Journey, maybe Luke, maybe Snoke. I mean, who knows? What'll come out. They may wait on some of these characters till the next movie, but they also may. Go ahead and release some of these characters. When the movie comes out, I'm sure if we do get a Snoke or something like that, it's not going to happen until after the movie drops. So probably happen either later in December or sometime in January. I'm sure we'll get some sort of a big, huge event in January, kind of like we did last year. So, but if that's not if that's it, then I think we're going to go ahead and call the stream here, guys. Again, I thank everybody for coming to check us out. As always, we'll be back next week with live show number 31. Thank you all for being here for 30 episodes with us. I'm really glad that we've reached this mark. Hopefully, we'll be looking back on this when we hit 100, and continue to grow the channel, grow the views, grow the live show, and just try to add more members that want to check us out, and also just continue to have memories here with the people that are checking us out now. But I appreciate everybody coming, and if you guys have any questions or you'd like to join us, come into the Discord after the show. Me and Maurice will be there, just kind of chatting it up for a little while. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week on the next one. May the force be with you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.
See ya.